Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this meeting of the Education and Skills Service Transformation Committee on Wednesday, the 17th of April, 2024. And I'm delighted to be speaking to you from the newly renamed Lillian Hopkin Room at the Guildhall. So we are going to move on swiftly after a little note that we do have some technical issues in the room at the moment. So we are on our laptops and mobile phones. So if there are some little glitches as we go forward in the meeting, we'll pause, we'll recover, and then we'll restart. Okay, but things are looking as if they're going to work at the moment. So fingers crossed. Okay, so first things on the agenda here, item number 1 is apologies for absence. Do we have any, Gareth?
From Councillor Mike White, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I've heard he's had a little injury, so I wish Mike well. Number 2, disclosures of personal and prejudicial interest. There is one thing for me. I'm a governor of Dylan Thomas School. Are there any others? No. Okay. Item number 3 is the minutes of the last meeting. So can we go through them page by page? Can we go through page 1, page 2, and page 3? If the committee is content, you can approve, and I can sign the minutes as a correct record. Thank you, Lyndon. We all agreed? Okay. Lovely. Thank you, Sandra. Thanks, Bev. Okay, so moving swiftly on to agenda item number 4, we come to our report, Transforming Education, Additional Learning Needs and Right Schools in Right Places. So we've got with us Sarah, who's going to talk us through the report. And my first comment before I pass to Sarah is that this is a report of traditional education abbreviations. So the abbreviations are numerous here out of necessity because there's a lot of information here. And I'll ask Sarah if she would walk us through the report.
Thank you. Afternoon, everyone. My voice is coming back through twice, so if this is echoing for anybody, let me know and I can move into a different room. So this report really is outlining the work of the committee during this municipal year, and the recommendations of the report are one that the committee considers the report today and approves it to be referred to council, as we do each year with these committees, and that when it does go to council, we will recommend as part of this report that the council endorses consideration of future consultation of any specific proposals that emerge from the delivery of these transformation programmes, which I'll go through as part of the report. The beginning of this municipal year, the committee met and we agreed on 2 educational transformational goals for this year. And those were transforming additional learning needs and right schools in right places. Those transformational goals are goals that we are working towards within the directorate, and they align with our corporate plan. So by their very nature, transformation are medium to long term in nature, but it was really important to work with the committee and with other officers to ensure that the foundations of these transformational programmes were sound and that we considered implications and benefits of these programmes as we take them forward. So this work was very useful in shaping some of that work. In addition to that, this committee did meet informally to discuss home to school transport and explore some of the current challenges with that. And that was quite relevant because they impact on both transformational areas of work. So it was useful to explore some of the challenges, but also potential ideas and solutions that we will continue to work towards as we move forward. Okay. Sorry, there's like a strange noise in the background. I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
Okay. I think.
Sorry, shall I pause just 1 minute? Yeah.
Sorry, everyone, we're going to pause. We've got some feedback in the room for a second, but an IT colleague is going to set things straight in a second. There we go. That's better. All sorted. So, Sarah, sorry about that. Can we continue, please?
Yes, of course. Moving on to the first area of transformational change, and this one is transforming additional learning needs. Transforming ALN has been a significant area of change that we've been working on for a number of years as part of the implementation of the Additional Learning Needs and Educational Tribunal Act. And so this committee sort of narrowed its focus, but also a very significant programme of change in itself, which was supporting sufficient specialist places, and sort of the work on that has been going on for some time as well, but it's now taking real shape, and this committee sort of shared their input to some of that work. Those meetings that took place over this year was to give some background really to some of the work that had taken place so far. There's been a sort of extensive review of the provision that is currently in place in Swansea, some of the gaps that we'd identified, and ways to develop that provision further. That provision is part of a range of an offer across Swansea, but still a very important part of that. So we did discuss those things, and there were some more specific areas of development that were shared with the committee as well, including the cluster enhanced provision project and a minibus pilot, as well as that sort of review and rebalance of specialist teaching facilities in Swansea. Kate is on the call, so for any questions can give some more detail around that work. But that really summarised that is a very brief summary of what's in the report. But that is what took place of this year. So I don't know if you want to pause on that before I move on to Right Schools and Right Places, as Kate's here.
Okay, Lyndon, I can see your hand is raised. Thank you, Sarah.
Great. Thanks, for the very comprehensive report as well. It's very helpful. How is the minibus pilot? How did that go, or is it ongoing?
Can you just say the last part there? Was that related to the minibus pilot, Lyndon?
I did, Mike. I just asked how it was going, and is it ongoing?
Lovely, thank you very much. Kate?
Yeah, sure, thanks. So the pilot has concluded with the 2 schools that we were working with, and that's concluded successfully, and we undertook an evaluation and agreed that it was something that we wanted to continue. So both those schools are now progressing with that. That's part of their standard transport offer. We've also had agreement to roll the pilot out further, or to roll the scheme out further then, I should say, to more schools. And we've been able to use some capital grant to source 2 new minibuses, which we're in the process of discussing with schools, looking at our analysis of where the transport costs are particularly high, and there's good opportunities to undertake to bring new schools into that scheme. So yes, it has been successful, and yes, we are rolling it out. So the availability of minibuses is actually quite challenging, so we're taking opportunities to source them whenever we can.
That's excellent, thank you, Kate. Do we have any other questions at the moment? I think I'm seeing the screen in full, Gav, but if you notice anything, can you just call my attention? Thank you. Right, okay, so back to Sarah to continue, please.
Sorry, Chair, can I just interrupt?
So the second work plan item.
Oh, there's Sam. Sorry, Sam. Good.
Yeah, can I just? I think both your mic and Gareth's mic is on, so I'm hearing a bit of an echo when you speak in the room. So I'm not sure if either you or Gareth could mute, just because when you're both unmuted.
Okay, thanks, Sam. Should we try my phone, Gav? Should we try that?
That sounds much better already, Chair.
Oh, I pushed something. Right, okay. Right, are we okay to continue?
Okay, thank you. So hopefully you can hear me okay now. So the second item was right schools in right places, and the committee initially received really just the sort of current position of the school estate in Swansea, and a number of the considerations that the directorate makes as part of its analysis of that. And so the current position and case for change for Swansea was outlined to the committee, and a number of discussions took place around those considerations. And it was agreed that the directorate would develop a strategic school provision plan, which would really sort of detail all of those considerations that are made when making cases for change across the school estate, really, and all of the things that we review and monitor. Which contains key information. That is complementary to the strategic outline programme, and that draft programme was approved by Cabinet and has now been submitted to Welsh Government. So those are complementary, and again, that's long-term delivery over 9 years, I believe. So again, that strategic school provision plan complements some of the decision-making and development as part of the school estate. And over the year, the committee made a number of observations and shared a number of thoughts around that, and now that plan has now been developed further. That plan will be developed further again following the end of this municipal year and will be presented to Cabinet in June 2024. So that really summarises the work. I have, briefly summarised it, but the full content is in the report, which I know was presented prior to today as well.
Okay. Is the sound okay, Sam? I can see you on the screen. Is that all right? Yeah. So thank you very much, Sarah, for the summary of the report. Can I ask committee members to raise their hands, or Cassandra to indicate in the room if you've got any questions, queries or comments there. In the meantime, can I ask Cabinet Member Councillor Robert Smith if you'd like to add anything, please?
Nothing specific, but I'd like to come in right at the end if I can, Chair, in relation to what's been said already.
Yes, there we are, to come in at the end. Oh.
I pushed the wrong button. Councillor Jones, Lyndon.
Right. Thanks, Chair. It disappeared then. One of the things, excuse me, one of the things we did discuss was comprehensives with no sixth forms, and whether there was the possibility of introducing these in some places, because obviously it would reduce travel costs, because currently people are traveling much further because of it. And obviously that helps, an environmental impact as well. So we did discuss this, but I can't really see it anywhere.
Thank you, Lyndon. Did I see a hand go up then? Helen Morgan-Rees. Helen, please.
Thank you, Chair. So in response to Councillor Jones's question, it would be for a matter for Welsh Government currently to consider any expansion of provision in terms of sixth form. I think that's what we reported to committee at the time. But indeed, there are changes afoot in terms of the Commission for Tertiary Education and Research that will commence in August this year. So future considerations and planning decisions around funding in particular will be made by that particular commission. So it would be a collaboration really between what we would propose, but really the determination is down to Welsh Government, not to us.
Okay, is that okay, Lyndon? Thank you, Helen.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, queries? No one indicating? No. Okay. Councillor Robert Smith.
Yes, I just wanted to. I assume that have these two reports now been endorsed by the committee?
Oh, right. I was just going to leave it for a second before I'll make a comment, Rob, and I'll call you back in.
Yeah,
Sorry.
thanks. Yeah.
I thought I sort of slightly ahead of myself there. From my point of view, what a thorough, detailed series of committee meetings that we had in a year, taking on massive challenges. I think it's fair to say that, and I take my hat off to everybody involved with this, to Helen, Morgan Rees, the heads of service, Sarah, everybody who's committed time, the committee members for their thoughts and insights. And I think we've ended up at a position where we've got two very robust outcomes in concentrating on these two very important areas as we go forward. It's going to shape the education estate and offer for the next 9 years and into the future, which is fantastic. My one comment, so I've got no, this reflects accurately for me the debates, the discussions, the probing of committee members and the answers we've had from officers all the way through the year. But the one thing that occurred to me was something that we sometimes don't, I think, pay enough attention to, and that's section 5 of the report, the Integrated Impact Assessment Implications, reference the Equality Act, the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act, and the Welsh Language Wales measure as well. And this focus on sustainable development, meaning the process of improving the economic, social, environmental and cultural well-being of Wales. Now, this is future-focused thinking. This is setting us in good stead to meet the needs of future generations. And I think that's what really came out of this detailed process this year, very powerfully for me. So on that, can I ask the committee, are we content? Are we happy? Do we have any final questions, queries, or are we happy to go along with the recommendations on page 1, that the draft report be approved and referred to Council, and number 2, that Council endorses consideration of future consultation on the specific proposals that will emerge from the delivery of the transformation programmes, which will be presented to Cabinet in future reports? I mean, we're not Council, but the committee is in agreement with those 2 recommendations. Bev, I couldn't see that. Bev, I do apologise. Councillor Bev Hopkins.
No, that's all right. No, I just want to thank everybody for their input here. The officers that have come along, and they've given us such detailed reports. And I think it's been easier for us as a committee to understand the procedure and everything. And I'm more than happy to endorse this and carry it forward. But you know, I really would like to thank the input from our officers. They've been fantastic.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Bev. Nobody else, Sandra? All right. Oh, 2 people raised their hands. So we've got, oh no, 1 now, Bev's down, and Councillor Robert Smith's hand is up. So can I just check that we are content and everybody's content with the recommendations? People are nodding, people are nodding. That's a unanimous agreement with the recommendations on page 1. Thank you, everybody. And now I can go back to where I was ahead of the game and go back to Cabinet Member Councillor Robert Smith.
Yeah, just want to echo what's been said, Chair, and you've said a lot of it yourself in terms of thanking the committee and yourself as Chair for all the work that's gone on in the year and the discussions. I think it's been a very, some very detailed discussions and very thorough opportunity chance to go through and interrogate the current policies and where we might go in future. And can I also thank Helen as Director and each of the heads of service, and also Sarah, because I know the work that she's put in drafting reports and pulling things together and making coherent sense out of many deliberations in many meetings. And I think that's a task in itself. So thank you very much to the committee. And I look forward to these going to Council and then eventually making the way to Cabinet and informing the direction that we take Council in future. So once again, thank you, Chair, and thank every member in this committee. I think it's been a model of a PDC.
Or an STC.
SPC, sorry.
Brilliant.
I'm one iteration behind the times, sorry, and absolutely.
Brilliant. Thank you
An
very
STC.
much, Robert. So on that point, I think we can move on from that agenda item and move on to the work plan. Well, of course, the work plan is completed for this municipal year. And now, as we look at the back sheet there, we're up to the annual report 2023-2024 that we've just gone through. So some closing comments from me, and please, committee members, if any comments, any thoughts, please put your hands up, please indicate. Excellent attendance from committee members throughout the year, excellent engagement, brilliant insight, based on wide experience within professional education. Committee members, we have many decades of experience in education, but critically in the democratic context, the insights from our elected members from across Swansea have been fantastic, and working in balance with Helen and her team. And I think that it's like democracy in action for me. You know, it's been really proactive and an insightful process that we followed throughout. So thank everybody. I thank everybody very much for the thoroughness of the complex debates that we've had in the year. And as Councillor Smith says, you know, pulling out the detail and putting the report together is no easy task. So we've had a very productive series of meetings this year. We've ended up in a robust position, which is great to see. Can I thank Councillor Robert Smith for his attendance, because as the cabinet member, his insight and perspective has been invaluable as well, of course, throughout. And in addition to education colleagues, we've got to mention colleagues from transport who were brilliant in offering us insights into the transport workshop, and all colleagues involved with that. And of course, we've got Gareth Bosden and our Democratic Service colleagues who are always on hand to make sure everything works like clockwork, even when the technology lets us down. So thank you, Gareth, and other colleagues for your work throughout the year. And of course, legal colleagues, Stephen and Melissa, always on hand to keep us in line to make sure that we are always legally compliant, which is of critical importance. So I think we've had a fruitful, productive series of meetings throughout the year, and we've ended up in a very solid position. So from the bottom of my heart, everybody, thank you all very much indeed for your commitment throughout the year. And I can see that nobody is indicating, Gareth, there's no final comments. So on that note, I will thank you all and draw the meeting to a close. Thank you all very much indeed.